I'm John Ochins, and welcome to Schooling Around. As with the start of any new school year, our administrators have their challenges: new government programs and requirements, new safety rules, new employees, and new students, a new high school, all part of the mountain that must be climbed. We'll check in with the folks who have to keep their eye on these matters in a moment. There is a place where the air is pure and water runs sparkling clean. There is a place surrounded by vast meadows and rolling hills. That place is the jewel of Oakland County. It's called Oxford, Michigan. If your dream or vision is for a safe, secure, and better life for you and your family, this is your invitation to come see for yourself the wonderful experience that could be yours. It's true that many lakes, nature trails, fishing, and over 500 acres of parks attract lots of people to Oxford. But there's much, much more. Quaint little shops, small pubs, and many unique fine restaurants. Near the center of town is a white church with a steeple. And a park where a live band can be heard playing from the gazebo on hot summer nights. The warmth and pride of its hard-working residents truly sets it apart from other communities. Oxford School Board has worked with parents to provide their children with the finest education possible. The result? A modern global school system with the first world-renowned international high school program, the 5th Core World Language and Culture program, and 11 premier sister schools expanding the globe from China to Mexico. Oxford residents are safe and secure in knowing they have one of the most modern police and EMT forces in Oakland County. If your vision is to start or expand a new business venture in a fiscally responsible environment, Oxford, Michigan welcomes you with open arms. We are one of the few Oakland County communities to offer the unique one-stop program, where Oxford officials make it easy for developers and builders to complete their projects from start to finish. The one-stop process cuts through financial and legal red tape, frustration that usually faces entrepreneurs as they try to get their project off the ground. If your dream is for a new business venture or a better life for you and your family, there is a place called Oxford, Michigan. Dr. Jim Schwarz has been our Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum, otherwise known as our Chief Academic Officer, since 2005. What we didn't know when we recorded this interview is that he would shortly be hired as Superintendent of the Avondale School District as of October 1st. Jim shared some of the district's challenges facing his successor.
Sure. As we get going this year, a couple of our really big initiatives are really moving toward the whole notion of data, classroom data that supports the teacher with decision-making relative to classroom instruction. In other words, collecting student information, student performance information that is right down to the specific standard and benchmark that the student is to accomplish and achieve mastery on for that year as set by the state or the national government if it's the Common Core. So we're really working to become much more scientific with our instruction by looking at specific data points and then from that, looking at each individual child and where they are in relation to those data points. And then if we have, then we'll look at creating, additional interventions, or looking at how to better differentiate the instruction in the classroom for that teacher so that we're better reaching each individual child with their specific strengths and areas of need.
Now, is this because we're just trying to improve on something, or is it because there's been an actual program change, or what's the situation?
Well, increasingly, instruction is becoming more and more accountable, and we want to do more and more for the best benefit of the children in terms of being able to reach them for where they're at in their ability and be able to attend to their needs specifically to that child. So, that's a movement we're seeing across the nation, particularly with the new Common Core coming into being, and a lot of the accountability that's being ramped up by the national and the state governments. It's really forcing us to look, again, really scientifically at data and how are we best servicing our children, essentially.
Earlier this year, we learned that Oxford would have to absorb the high school located at Crossroads for Youth on East Drainer Road. Dr. Schwarz comments.
The Crossroads program is an adjudicated youth program. It's for court-placed children that are from not only this area, but the surrounding area as well. We have about 56 students currently registered to start the year in that program. And that program is one that is going to be a little different than the previous model that we had when we used to provide the educational service at Crossroads. This service model is going to be one where students in that program will spend part of their day in a seated situation or part of their class period in a seated situation with direct instruction with a teacher, and the other part of that class period will be online. And so they're going to kind of vacillate between online instruction and then get reinforcement through direct instruction with a teacher. And so we're creating kind of a blended model for the students. And we think that will be much more successful than the program we've had there in previous years.
And I know you've been working hard in terms of getting grants and all that sort of thing through the summer, trying to pull everything together. I know we hired some new teachers for there. How many people did we hire?
Right now we have 5 teachers, I should say, that are going to be starting the year, because that's based on the student count that we have. We've also hired office staff and a principal as well. And as far as the setup of the facility, we're starting there currently with some temporary furniture that we've gathered from the district. And then we'll be purchasing new furniture for that facility as our grants come to fruition. We spent much of this summer writing grants, state and federal grants, that will help support the purchase of some newer materials. But until those grant monies become available, we have to use what we have now in the district resources.
And I suppose the virtual academy might be involved in some way with the online training.
That is correct, yeah. The Oxford Virtual Academy is assisting us in supplying the online portions of their course curriculum.
In terms of International Baccalaureate, I know, I guess one of the exciting things happening over in the middle schools is that I believe this will be the first year that the kids will have to do an individual project. Is that correct?
In the MYP program, which runs the span of grades 6 through 10, there will be a 10th grade culminating project that will be a culmination of their experiences through their IB programming to that point. So this will be the first year that they'll experience that exhibition. And we're quite excited about that, and the opportunity that brings.
I guess the international students have arrived and they're getting acclimated to their new situation.
We have another 17 that are coming tomorrow, getting acclimated. They're moving into some dormitories at Rochester College, where we have many of the students being housed, in addition to homestays in the community. So we've kind of have a mixed arrangement with folks. So it's starting very well. Folks are getting in, getting acclimated. And
any other changes coming about that you're going to have to deal with this year that you can?
Sure. One of the big changes we're going to have is I spoke to earlier about getting more scientific with classroom data and how it relates to an individual student. With that being said, we're making a shift this fall with elementary, K through 5. Our elementaries are going to a new report card. And that report card is going to be a standards-based report card. So it's going to inform the parent, specifically to what skills their child has strengths and areas of improvement that are needed. It's going to be a much more telling report card than what they've received before.
So are they going to get A's, B's, C's, D's, etc.? Or
This report card's a little different. This report card is going to be a non-graded report card. So we've kind of gone away from the A, B, C, D format that we've all been raised on and are familiar with, and moving toward what seems to be more of a national trend of really non-graded, standards-specific reporting. So a parent will receive a report card that will show if their child met a standard or an expectation, if they're progressing toward that, or if there's insufficient progress toward that. So they'll get much more of an academic reporting on their child specific to their skills over that period of time, over that card.
Dr. Jim Schwarz, we wish you well. Tim Throne became the Oxford Deputy Superintendent of Schools on July 1st. He has been with Oxford Schools for 15 years and has had much to do with keeping our technological house in order. I sat down with Tim to hear more about his new role and some of the big challenges for the coming year.
And so as Deputy Superintendent, some of my roles include my previous responsibilities, which were technology and reporting of strategic initiatives to the school board. But in addition to those, I have also assumed responsibility for strategic planning, for leadership development, transportation and maintenance reports up through me, as well as OIRA, our Oxford International Residency Program.
Now, you really just attained the Deputy Superintendent title, I believe, within the last couple of months, isn't that correct?
Correct, on July 1st.
Congratulations for that.
Thank you.
I guess, right? Maybe I should have asked you, what don't you do? That would have been a shorter list, probably.
Well, there's plenty enough responsibilities to go around the district, but I think the big thing is that we were trying to find out how we can become more efficient, more effective in what we're doing, how we can become even more responsive to our students and our parents, and provide the not only level of service that they're accustomed to, but try to increase that level of service for our customers.
Any particular mountains that you have to climb this year that you're a little concerned about, or that you have to work harder at?
I'd say there's a few areas that we're really working hard in. One is, as you probably know, we have ported our website over to a new website, a new design. We've gotten a lot of really good feedback on that. However, the website was in development and actually in production for a good 7-8 years since the last time we updated it. So we had literally thousands of pages that we had to port. We are actively still updating our website and continue to put new and updated information out there. But that will be a process that I think will be ongoing and will be pretty steady, at least for the first few months of the school. I'd say another big area that we're really going to spend a lot of time on in the first 6 months of school is with strategic planning. Our existing strategic plan is going to be coming to a close, or it actually has come to a close. And so between now, the start of school, and December, we actually want to bring the community together, create a new strategic plan, and present that to the Board of Education.
Okay, Bob, what exactly do you mean by strategic plan?
So a strategic plan is really a plan that will be submitted to the state, and it is our outlook on where Oxford wants to go, where its strategic focus is in the next 3 to 5 years.
Is this a requirement by the state that all school districts have to do this from time to
Yes,
time?
it is.
Okay. And, you know, one of the things I heard when I was talking to Dr. Skilling the other day, or rather Dr. Schwartz, and he was talking about various scores that have to be reported, various requirements that have to be met. And I know with your technology background, does this involve a lot of computer technology throughout the school year, reporting things back to the state and whatnot to
Yep.
so that they can verify that you're keeping up with whatever their requirements
Yep,
are?
absolutely. So there's numerous types of reports that have to be reported back to state. There's numerous financial reports. There are student accounting reports, so attendance reports, things like that. There are certain discipline reports, so that when certain activities occur, we have to report those to the state. There is just numerous reports that have to be filed back with the state. And so technology plays a big role in all of that, not only from capturing the events to logging it to reporting on it to actually, electronically transmitting those reports as well.
Anything else you want to throw in there about changes that are occurring this year?
I think the last thing that I'd like to point out is that we are actually bringing our Crossroads for Youth School back online. And so you may or may not know, a year or so ago, Crossroads, the agency, a charter school had come in and taken over the Crossroads for Youth School. And that charter only lasted a year, and for whatever reason, they've parted ways, and so Oxford Schools is coming back in and providing that education service to the kids at Crossroads. And so we have been working nonstop this summer, planning on turning that building back on and enrolling those kids and providing education to all the kids at Crossroads.
And that's involved a lot of people in our district, hasn't it? For example,
Yes.
the Virtual Academy has even gotten their hands into this, haven't they?
Yes, absolutely. So we really went back to square one and said, what type of education fits this kind of student? How do we want to deliver it? When do we want to deliver it? What does that look like? What kind of furniture do we need? What type of technology do we need? What type of teachers? How do we want them to actually be giving the instruction in the classrooms? So we really looked at our program of services from top to bottom. And I think it's going to be just a great opening to Crossroads and a new chapter in the history of their school.
And if I think back a few months past where we learned that we had to absorb the responsibility of Crossroads and where a few people were rolling their eyes, I think it's turned into a challenge that they've really grabbed by the horns, and they're bound and determined we are going to make this thing work, and it's going to work well.
Absolutely. So our theme for this year is that in all we do, we're going to strive for excellence. And I think that Crossroads is just one of those areas or examples that it doesn't matter what school or what building or what program, if we've decided to do it, we're going to strive towards excellence in achieving it.
And I believe
When you say HR, hiring and firing comes to mind. There's much more to it than that. We'll check in with Nancy Letowski when we return.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
I guess you could say that no news is good news when it comes to HR. That means things are running smoothly and no one is being taken to task. That's really only part of the story. Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources, Nancy Letowski, has been with us since 2001. She tells us of the latest news in her department.
The hiring is a huge factor. We work very hard at finding, recruiting, and retaining quality staff. And we do have an extensive process for that. As we look at staffing needs, we put them through a pretty extensive process with interview teams, teaching lessons, and reference checking. So that is, as we look at it, our number one priority. And obviously, with everything else that goes along with staff, we handle all of the record keeping for staff, payroll, setting up positions, and it's a
Tell
pretty
me
involved
this:
process.
as you look around at some of your other friends at the other school districts,
Mhm.
do you say, "Thank God I'm me"? Sometimes.
It's a very busy place.
I mean, we're not laying anybody off.
We are not, and we're happy about that. We're happy that we're growing as a district, and that we are able to bring in quality people and have all the programs going that we have going. For instance, this year we've hired foreign language teachers and numerous other teachers that, if we were losing students, we would be cutting back. So it's very exciting.
Not only that, but we absorbed another high school. We got Crossroads back that we had to deal
We
with.
did.
And that caused us to hire 4 or 5 more people,
Yes.
didn't it?
We essentially had to go in and create a whole new program, and including a principal, teachers, tutorial assistants, clerical help. So it's and setting up schedules, determining how that educational program will work. It was a big task, and we're very excited about it. We've got great staff on board, and we're still filling those last few positions, but it's going to be a good program for the students, and they definitely are in need of a good program, and we're
Now,
happy about that.
I've only been paying attention to the Oxford School District for the past year, but I've never heard any big issues about the union or, those kind of labor troubles, things like that you hear in some of the other places. It sounds like people are getting along fairly smoothly around here.
We have a very good relationship with our unions, all of our staffing groups. We treat them fairly, and obviously money is always an issue, and that's always a challenge for public schools because our funding base and what we're able to do with the money and rising costs and things like that. But as far as relationships go, we're very upfront with them. We involve them in many aspects of what we're doing. For instance, healthcare. Healthcare is rising. It's the costs are going up. Well, they're just unbelievably expensive.
It's tough to balance.
So we're looking at, with the union, what kinds of things can we do, and what options can we give for employees. We want to be able to increase their salaries with what we've got. So if healthcare can get under control, then we'd be able to look at what else, with that money, can we put it into salaries. So we're looking at that for this year. That's going to be a major project, looking at what options are out there.
Well, healthcare is certainly a big issue that has kind of changed things for for the future, really, not just the coming year. But have there been any other things coming along that you've had to deal with, governmentally or otherwise, that any other mountains you have to climb this year?
As anyone who pays attention to the news hears, the many new regulations that come into place, and every time a new law passes that involves schools or children or teachers, every one of those has many pieces that we have to plan for, set up, make sure that we're in compliance with the law. We've gone through an extensive teacher evaluation process. We have a great program in place, and it helps for the professional growth of the teachers. And we're ahead of the game there, and the laws that come up like EpiPen law. That's something we had to put policies in place and make sure that people are trained in applying the EpiPens for
Oh yes, that
students
involves
and-
medical issues. That's
Sure.
a serious thing.
Yeah. So every time that a law passes, we really have to be on top of all of that and be ready to move on it. So those challenges are there every year, and it seems that there are every year those requirements increase, and
Have there been other requirement changes too about practicing for different problem? What am I trying to say?
safety drills?
Yes.
And, yes.
Yeah, they've
yes.
changed the rules on that.
They
haven't
changed. They changed the number of drills for lockdown drills. They're putting specific requirements in as to when you have a drill, or you have to have one drill during a time when students aren't just sitting in class. So, for example, if they're at lunch, you have a drill then. What does everyone do then? So you're prepared. And all of those pieces, as well as reporting requirements in terms of that we have completed the drills.
So
We
you
were-
have to report on that. You're in charge of reporting on that stuff yourself,
Correct.
right?
Yeah, so we've worked very closely with our fire chief and the police in regard to making sure that we're meeting all those requirements, and it's a good partnership there that we've had. So
We'll check in with the Virtual Academy after this.
Because I love sports. I've been involved in educational athletics all my life, and I like to give back to the kids and the athletes and the parents in the school.
And there was guys that were nice enough to do it and volunteer their time when I was a kid coming through school, so I'm just paying it forward.
I like the things that officiating gives to officials: confidence, decision-making abilities, be able to work in teams.
You can be a referee.
Janet Schell and Peggy Boggs play a big role in keeping the Oxford Virtual Academy up and running. Their many locations are opening their doors for the coming year. They tell us what's up at Virtual Ed.
Changes in our locations. We're adding Sterling Heights, ICANN, and we are adding the Harbor and
yeah.
Taylor. So we've got some new exciting programs for community partnerships. We're going to continue on with Bryant's Karate, Flip Spot, The Link, our Yara group, Renaissance Homeschool group. Our lab at Kettering is opening again on the 8th of September, so our students up in Flint will have that opportunity. Peggy, you want to talk about some of the new curriculum?
We do have some new curriculum. I'm the middle school mentor and have been asking for a couple of years now to continue to add some programs so my middle schoolers have the great choices that some of our high schoolers have. We've added Connexus this year, which is a Pearson product, and I'm excited about it. I think that it's going to be an engaging program for our middle school students.
So that's another choice that those students will
One
have
more.
of
We
a curriculum
have,
to choose from.
Yeah. In addition to our electives, we have seated, blended, virtual electives, world languages. We just keep adding and adding more product.
Well, you mentioned a location downriver last time, I believe. How's that working out?
That's the Harbor.
That's the Harbor.
Yep, in Taylor, Michigan.
Okay.
New location opening up. It's 1 through 8th grade right now, and it will probably expand to the high school next year. Another exciting thing, and I'm going to ask Tracy to come on over, put her on the spot. We are having a elementary day we're really excited about on Tuesday mornings. So the lab's going to shut down and be available to elementary students. So we're really excited about that. Tracy.
That's coming up this next week.
It'll be starting towards the end of September, and we're going to just dedicate Tuesday mornings to our elementary students who work mostly at home, but we want to be able to have them, invite them in to work with their parents or their guardians.
So Tuesdays will be a special day for
Yes,
those
Tuesday
folks.
mornings will be special for just elementary.
Janet Schell and Peggy Boggs over at the Virtual Academy Oxford Lab. That's Schooling Around for this week. Thanks to Dan Zuis, our editor, Kyle Snage at the controls, and you for watching. Stick with us as we follow administrators, teachers, and students on their academic adventures during the 2014-15 school year.
This is Oxford TV, keeping it local.